Billy Batson. I choose you as champion.
Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land, and welcome to DC Fans United. So if you've been following my channel, you know I'm really hyped for the upcoming DC movies, particularly Aquaman and also Shazam. So there's obviously going to be some big changes in tone between the previous DC EU movies, such as Batman v Superman and Man of Steel, as opposed to Shazam. So that's obviously going to cause a pretty big backlash from a large percentage of the fan base. There's a large amount of DC fans that are basically never going to accept a director that isn't Zack Snyder. Doesn't matter if it's a Shazam movie, an Aquaman movie, or a Batman movie. If Zack Snyder isn't the director, they are not going to like it. So aside from it obviously being a different director, this upcoming Shazam movie looks really fun, really lighthearted, and really colorful. All three of which are things you actually often do see in DC Comics. Sure, DC can be dark and dreary and blackest night, but it can also be brightest day. It's a bit of a misconception among people, I think, who primarily know DC because of Zack Snyder's movies, that the DC universe can actually be fun. So one of the fun characters in DC is Captain Marvel, or as he's known now, Shazam. So when I saw the trailer for Shazam, I was really thrilled. I like the way that they're taking this. And obviously Shazam himself is a boy. He's young, so it's going to be a more lighthearted movie just because of that, I think. And I also really believe it's a good idea to have some sort of movies that are superhero based that are okay for kids. I'm thinking this is probably going to be rated PG. So let's get into what happened recently. So David Sandberg is the director of Shazam, and as the trailer showed, he indicated as well that this movie is going to be more lighthearted and is a humorous adventure. And he shared some more information about it on Instagram. So he got a really salty reply. Now, this is being reported as a death threat. I'm not 100% sure if that's what the commenter meant. You can let me know down in the comments what you think. My impression is that he means the DCEU will die, not that David Sandberg will die, but death threat does make for a better clickbait title, I have to admit. So anyways, this guy named Carlos Soprane says, if you make DCEU funny like Marvel, you die. At least make it lighter with few humors and inspirational plus anti-bullshit story like Wolf of Wall Street, Sorry to Bother You, Vinyl, Bohemian Rhapsody, The Dark Knight, Inception, Scarface, Batman, Arkham Origin gameplay, walkthrough scenes. That's the DCEU. So wow, talk about word salad. So basically, he's just not happy with the way Shazam looks because it doesn't look like the Arkham games or the Dark Knight, which, you know, not everything has to be the Dark Knight. I think that's another misconception people have. Not everything in DC is the Watchmen. Not everything's the Dark Knight. And Scarface, okay, Scarface is a great movie, but it's rated R and extremely violent. I don't think, you know, if Scarface were in the DC universe, he would very much be a villain. And even in the movie, he's a villain. It's just he's the main character. So people often think he's some kind of heroic figure you want to emulate. No, Scarface is the bad guy. He even says that himself in the movie. I don't know why people put him on a pedestal. I love that movie, but you don't want to be Scarface in real life. So anyways, David Sandberg replies to his comment, which his reply was pretty funny. He just says, why so serious? So, you know, this guy's a Dark Knight fan. That was a pretty good reply. So he says, why so serious? The trailer represents the humor in the film well. If it doesn't appeal to you, don't see the film. Ooh, I kind of wish he hadn't ended with that last part. That's one thing people often say if you criticize them. I get that sometimes when I review a comic. I say, well, you don't like the comic, don't buy it. Okay, if you're thinking you're going to produce anything in the future, that might not be a good angle to go with, because people are going to simply not buy the one thing they commented on. They're not going to buy anything from you ever again. So I don't think his response needed that last sentence. He should have just said, why so serious? The trailer represents the humor in the film well. In any case, overall, I think it was just a little bit of Twitter drama that's gotten stretched out into a few different news articles that I'm starting to see. Oh, and it wasn't even Twitter drama. I think it was Instagram drama. So much the worse, right? My main point about this, though, is the diehard Zack Snyder fans. You got Watchmen. You got Batman versus Superman. You got Man of Steel. You got, okay, we won't say you got Justice League. But there's a good crop of movies there. I think it's okay to have literally one movie that might have a couple jokes and some colors that aren't faded out in it. So that's my take on it. Let me know down in the comments what you thought about this crazy interaction between the director and a random on Instagram. And yeah, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Be sure to hit the bell for notifications. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't. And as always, thank you for watching and being a part of DC Fans United.
End of line.